Somewhere beyond their world, something felt her power. Another figure stirred. A faint glimmer in the dark, silver light reflecting across the hood of a lone observer. Eyes sharp, silent. Interesting, the voice whispered. Very interesting. Back in Orlaith, Leora returned to the balcony as night fully settled. The city beneath her glowed with faint golden lines. Silver threads shimmered across rooftops. A subtle hum filled the air, a rhythm only those attuned could hear. The child's thread pulsed softly, not alone, not chaotic, aligned, somewhere far beyond the city. Other threads began moving, awakening, faint, unseen, and the sovereign thread continued to expand, across valleys, across forests, across lands that had never known its guidance. The world itself responded. The sovereign thread is reaching outward. New awakenings continue across the realm. Will these emergent threads align with Orlaith, or will they challenge the balance entirely? Silver seams streaked across the violet sky, thin, irregular, persistent. Each pulse left the city quieter afterward, magic recalibrating. Not destruction, not chaos, balance evolving. The council called it incidents. Leora called them awakening. Kaelan watched, measured, observant. The grid is evolving, she whispered. They call it weakening, an elder argued. Outside Orlaith, new unmarked threads surfaced. A 17-year-old girl triggered a surge while irrigating her fields. No casualties. Fear high. She was detained, not for punishment, for containment. That night, Leora visited her. Not as sovereign, not as ruler, as witness. The girl's wrists were bare, eyes rimmed with red. I didn't mean to, she whispered. You are waking it, Leora said. The silver thread beneath her skin pulsed softly. Alignment, not force. The council chamber split. Integration versus containment. 4 elders demanded suppression. 3 favored guided evolution. The crown teetered. Balance no longer solely theirs. Far beyond Orlaith, another fracture flickered. Distant, measured, not accidental. A dark hand hovered above an ancient vault, guiding threads older than the crown, waiting, watching. Back in Orlaith, rumors grew, whispers of the unmarked, not threats, but signs of change, authority shifting. On the balcony, Leora and Kaelan watched the horizon. You are becoming a symbol, he said. I did not choose this, she replied. Intent rarely governs outcome. The fractures pulsed faintly above, threads awakening beyond human reach. Night deepened, lanterns flickered, shadows stretched across streets and plazas. Somewhere in the distance, another unmarked stirred. A child, a farmer, a scholar, unaware of their growing connection. The grid pulsed faintly in response, not control, not restriction. Recognition. Leora exhaled slowly. Silver thread beneath her skin shimmered in tune. Not to command, not to impose, only to align. Kaelan rested a hand on the balcony railing. Measured, steady. Will they obey? He asked softly. They will not wait for permission, she said. Far to the east, the faintest glimmer appeared. A silver line across the horizon. Resonating. Threaded. Not ending. Expanding. The council scrambled to adjust. Whispers turned to arguments. Some sought immediate containment. Others urged observation. None understood the magnitude. In a small village outside the eastern provinces, a boy touched the soil. Silver threads wrapped around his fingers. He drew a breath and felt the pulse of something vast. Back in Orlaith, Leora sensed it immediately. Threads converging, threads awakening, the sovereign thread responding. The fractures above the city shimmered in acknowledgement. A lattice of silver and gold stretched across the violet sky, alive, interconnected, listening. Kaelan's eyes followed hers. The grid is no longer predictable, he said quietly. No, Leora replied. It's learning. Above the distant mountains, an ancient observer stirred. Eyes opening behind a hood, hands weaving faint arcs of silver light. A smile, recognition, curiosity. The sovereign thread had reached beyond all expectation, and somewhere, unseen by mortal eyes, answers awaited. The city below remained unaware of the full scope, but the threads had already begun their work. Not dominance, not chaos. Balance, a new balance. Fragile, expanding, unpredictable. The crown was no longer absolute, the grid no longer confined. The world itself had begun to answer. The fractures are spreading. New awakenings ripple through the realm. Who truly holds authority now? The crown, the unmarked, or the threads themselves? Dawn never fully arrived. The sky above Orlaith hung heavy. A silver fracture split the violet morning light, sharp, silent, waiting. Inside the council chamber, the vote had concluded. 4-3, containment protocol enacted, expanded authority, oversight of all unmarked transferred to the crown, Leora included. Kaelan received the sealed directive. He did not break it immediately. Instead, he studied the script in silence, measured, patient, protective. Transfer orders moved Leora to controlled quarters, restricted access, formal review of her authority. In the vault beneath the sovereign tower, Leora felt threads pulse brighter than ever. They're formalizing oversight, she murmured. I will walk beside you, Kaelan replied. Not deliver, not seize, walk. Exiting the vault, the silver thread beneath her skin pulsed in tune with the fractured sky. The council did not notice. The city did. First collapse, Western Residential District. Ward Tower sparks. Windows shattered. 3 mages fell unconscious. The grid flickered violently, silver surfacing like bone through gold. Second collapse, Outer Agriculture Ring. Then Northern Watchtower. Sequential, deliberate. The council scrambled, stabilization squads deployed, amplification matrices activated, but Leora moved before she was told not to, toward the epicenter, toward the pulse. Silver threads aligned with her presence. The grid did not restore. It reconfigured. Gold reformed thinner, interwoven with silver. Fractures stabilized. Balance recalibrated. Council elders emerged onto balconies, faces pale, authority shaken. They had invoked total amplification, nearly destroying the city. The people saw it. Leora had stepped forward and steadied it. Later that night, the crown chambers were divided beyond repair. Containment protocol suspended. Authority fractured. Some elders demanded reinforcement. Others dismantled amplification entirely. On the balcony, under a scarred sky, Leora and Kaelan watched. They will not attempt amplification again, he said. No, they cannot risk it, she replied. It was measured, she said. Someone initiated it, he observed, and stopped once they had data, she added. Far to the east, another silver line appeared, distant, faint, resonating, threads awakening, not ending, expanding. Below, the city slowly resumed its rhythm. Lanterns flickered in muted gold. Streets smelled of smoke and ozone. Children slept despite the tremors. In the alleys, whispers spread. Stories of silver threads and the girl who had walked unafraid into the pulse. Not all understood. Few dared speak. The vault thrummed quietly. Multiple resonances, faint but persistent. Each pulse connected to distant threads beyond sight. The grid itself had begun listening. Not obeying, not controlling, aware. Leora traced her fingers along the balcony railing, cold marble beneath her touch. The silver thread beneath her skin flared faintly. Responsive, aligned, not commanding. Kaelan remained beside her, silent sentinel, watching the horizon, measuring, guarding. In the northern provinces, a lone boy lifted his gaze. Silver threads traced patterns through his fingers. He inhaled, and the grid pulsed back. Every awakening, every ripple, every spark of recognition. Answering. Night deepened over Orlaith. The fractures above shimmered in a lattice of silver and gold. Threads intertwined, expanding, alive. Above, an unseen observer withdrew their hand from a dark vault. Interest, not anger. The threads were no longer contained. Control was a relic. Observation was the new balance. The crown had fractured, authority diluted. The Unmarked continued to emerge, and far beyond, ancient eyes watched. If balance is no longer controlled, who decides its course? The crown, the Unmarked, or the threads themselves? The sky above Orlaith remained alive. Silver threads wove through gold like veins beneath skin. Not fractured, not broken, changed, responsive, alive. The crown framed it as restoration, a return to balance. The people knew better. They had witnessed the grid fracture. They had seen Leora step forward and steady it, without command, without decree, without rank. Reports arrived from distant provinces. Unmarked individuals surfaced, some calm, some unstable. All new, all awake. The council convened once more. Containment was no longer the question. Legitimacy was. If the Unmarked multiply... They are emerging, Leora interrupted. Evolution, she whispered. And if evolution destabilizes civilization? Then civilization was built too rigid, she replied. Kaelan stood behind her, not as guard, not as enforcer, as presence, subtle, steady, aligned. That night the fractures above the city intensified. Silver threads stretched across the sky in a latticework of faint light, not tearing, connecting, alive, responsive. The vault pulsed in response, layered, multiple, resonating. Leora descended alone into the central core. The glowing threads of sovereigns appeared beneath fractured skies, and beneath them, another image emerged. Two lines, interwoven, balanced, never singular. Leora reached toward the core. Silver light responded immediately. Beneath it, something older stirred. Memory of magic before structure. Flowing freely, unconfined. The grid had been built to regulate excess, not suppress potential. It had been designed to control. Now it listened. Above the palace, the sky split fully, a wide silver aperture open, not invasion, unveiling. Kaelan felt the shift. It's opening, he said quietly. Yes, she replied. Can you close it? Yes, he whispered. And? She asked. Should I? If she sealed it, the grid's dominance restored, authority centralized, Unmarked suppressed. If she let it widen, magic decentralized. Unmarked continued emerging, authority transformed. What do you believe? He asked. Not what is safe, not what preserves the crown. What do you believe? I believe balance must be chosen, she said. Silver threads cascaded across the sky. Not lightning, not flame, alignment, responsive, alive. Across the city, sigils dimmed slightly, integrated, gold softened, silver wove through it. Magic no longer pressed rigidly against the skin. It flowed. Freedom. Alive. In distant provinces, Unmarked individuals felt permission awaken. Not a surge of power, not control. Permission. Potential unlocked. Threads stirring in response. Far beyond, a hidden observer withdrew their hand from a dark vault. Interesting. The voice murmured. Very interesting. Interest, not anger. Evolution creates variables, and variables could be shaped. The council felt it immediately. Authority diluted. The crown repositioned. Participant, not sole regulator. A choice lay before them. Resist and fracture entirely, or adapt and remain relevant. Silence was chosen. Acceptance, for now. In the plaza below, citizens lifted wrists. Marks glowed softly. Personal. Unique. The Unmarked were no longer anomalies. They were variation, change, emergence. On the balcony, Leora and Kaelan stood. Aligned, not ruler and guard, not sovereign and captain. Aligned. Above them, silver and gold interwoven. Alive. Responsive. Threads answered faintly across distant lands. Emerging. Not synchronized. Not commanded. The sky remained open. Balance had shifted. From control to trust. Far beyond the horizon, unseen, a figure stepped into starlight. Ancient. Patient. Interesting, the voice murmured. Very interesting. The fracture created possibility, and possibility could be dangerous. If balance must be chosen rather than imposed, who bears the responsibility? The sovereigns, the people, or something beyond all rule?